Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Iza Khatoon and this is Huda Khan, and we are part of Canada Maple Foundation's Youth Leadership Group. And today we will be talking about technology and how it affects our health as individuals, our privacy, and employment. How are you doing today, Huda Khan?
I'm doing good, thank you.
About technology, how do you think it affects our privacy?
So information technology has opened up society and decreased privacy in many different ways. Have you ever Googled your name?
A couple times, yeah.
A couple times, yes. So what did you find out about yourself?
I did notice that a lot of profile pictures that I've had previously, they came up on Google Images, which is kind of a privacy concern of mine.
Yes, and you've probably noticed that your Instagram profile has also been brought up like as a link there, or your Facebook or your LinkedIn profile.
That's right,
so it's very, very open. So the right to determine information privacy is the right to determine when to extend information about oneself that can be communicated to others. So this applies to individuals, groups, institutions. Privacy can be interpreted quite broadly, right? So, which contributes to the debate concerning privacy expectations. And in past, court decisions, in many countries, the right of privacy is not absolute and must be balanced, right? So, that brings us against the needs of society, and the public's rights to know it's superior to the individual's rights of privacy. These two rules reveal why it's difficult in some cases to determine and enforce privacy regulations, right? So there are a number of privacy issues that are of concern, including electronic surveillance, availability of personal information, cookies and spyware, and workplace monitoring. So those are included in the privacy structure.
And now I feel like telemarketing is really famous now too, and it's really easy for people to call up anyone. They can just look up a list of phone numbers and they can randomly call in people. And I've heard there's been a lot of scam problems and stuff like that.
No, definitely there are many things like this. Technology has improved in such a high ways where you could even steal someone's car. You could steal their money online without them even knowing who you are. You could identity theft, so many things through technology, which is a huge way, even in workplaces, through cameras, surveillances, being monitored. That all includes the impact of technology on our privacy and in our lives.
Now that we've discussed how technology impacts privacy, which is a really big concern in this day and age, how do you think technology contributes to health, or how do you think it pervades health?
So while some forms of technology may have positive effects and positive changes in the world, there is evidence of negative effects of technology and overuse as well. So social media and mobile devices may lead to psychological and physical issues such as a strain, which is one really big one, and difficulty focusing on important tasks because of the social media. There's also something called dopamine, the likes that you need. It's a intramolecular cell, right? So basically, it's an important cell in the body, right? So it makes you want likes, reposts, followers. It wants you to have all of that, right? So that's a really, really big effect on our health. And they may also contribute to more serious health conditions like depression, which is a very big one that not a lot of people look into, but that is definitely very big ones through, cyberbullying, or bullying is a very, very big one because technology, like social media, again, can affect so many teenagers at a young age. And I've seen parents and adults give their children at the age of 6 or 7 phones and devices that can affect them in a very, very unhealthy way.
I also heard that now people are becoming more desensitized to violence because of the many times that you see violence in movies, and now with advanced technology, they they can make that look so realistic, and because of that, a lot of youth especially are becoming desensitized to all of these different violent, acts.
Yeah, so basically, like, the overuse of technology may have such a significant impact on developing, children and teenagers. So overuse or dependence on technology may have an adverse psychological effect, right? So that's including isolation, which is a very, very big one. So again, like, technology such as like social media, which I just said, like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, even Twitter, are like designed to bring people together, yet they have the opposite effect in some cases. It can isolate you completely from the world and from your outside life. There was a 2017 study in young adults aged 19 to 32 found that some people with higher social media's use were more than 3 times likely to feel socially isolated than the people who did use social media more often. So finding ways to reduce social media use, such as setting time limits for social media apps, may help, feelings of isolation in some people.
It's really apparent in our
Through looking
generation.
at, like, the social medias, when you look at different influencers are supposed to influence you in a good way, but you see that they show off their bodies or their faces, they encourage Botox, they encourage plastic surgery, which can be so negative on our facial structure, on our health, on everything, even physically, even mentally, and it can make you get into, different habits like eating disorders, self-harm, which is very high right now. Suicide rates are very high because of those, I shouldn't be living on this planet because I'm just not good enough. I'm not like those influencers. I am not, beautiful enough. I don't have enough lip fillers. I don't have enough,
So basically, social media, because it's increased widely due to technology, it's created a lot of less self-worth in individuals.
Yes. So I was just getting into depression and anxiety. So what that research found was mixed results. People who had more like positive interactions and social support on these platforms appear to have lower levels of depression and anxiety, which are some positive effects. However, there was a reverse that was also true. People who perceived that they had more, negative social interactions online and who were more prone to social comparison experienced higher levels of depression and anxiety.
Right.
So that is a negative effect. So getting into, depression and stuff, we could also get into, while there does appear to be like links between social media and mental health, there is a significant determining factor that is the type of interactions people feel they're having on these platforms with different people.
Right. I guess it also affects physical health because we start prioritizing social media, we start prioritizing technology and our dependency on it. So how exactly, if you could get into a little detail of how it affects physical health?
Yeah, so technology use may increase the risk of physical issues as well, including, again, I'm just going to say this one again, eye strain. So what that basically is symptoms of digital, like actual eye strain, can include like blurred vision and dry eyes. A strain might also lead to like pains in other areas of the body, such as the head, neck, shoulders. Like, you may sometimes get lots of headaches because of the use of technology and lots of the lighting.
Right, yeah.
So that can definitely affect. Several other technological factors may lead to eye strain, such as like screen time, screen glare, screen brightness, and then there's also viewing too close or too far away, poor sitting posture, underlying vision issues. So
I think another thing that we can add to it is that we tend not to exercise, or we tend not to take our the time out of our day to do something proactive. So instead we just scroll on our phones.
Exactly. So I think that a really good way to stop that is taking regular breaks away from screen time may reduce like the likelihood of eye strain, which is really important.
So now that we've talked about the more pressing concerns of technology and its effect on health and privacy concerns, what do you think it has? Do you think it facilitates employment, or do you think there's a negative effect on it?
So when we're thinking of technology, the first thing that you might consider are devices that use electricity and the word quote-unquote smart before their name. Smartwatches or smartphones portray contrary to what some might believe, that technology was not invented by Steve Jobs in 2007 when he revealed the new iPhone. It also did not begin with the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century. Technology can be dated all the way back to the transition from sundials into clocks, or the inventions of the horse plow that signaled the agriculture revolution. If we time traveled back to the Dark Ages, we begin to see that technology had and continued to have a mental impact on the way we live today, like experience the world and interact with one another. But yeah, that's kind of how technology is affected right now in terms of employment and jobs.
That's really interesting how you brought it back to even before the Industrial Revolution. It was really interesting to know that although we have a different definition for technology now, past civilizations used it in a different manner. It's really interesting.
Yes.
Now that we're talking about advanced technology or current technology, it brings us to automation, right?
Yes.
And how does automation affect employment?
So, the rapid development of technology has placed the world in a state of influx and uncertainty. The most significant impact created by technology in the working world is arguably the creation of job automation. So from corporate jobs to factories to the cashier role at your local Walmart, job security is being threatened by the process of automation.
Right.
While it has been argued that automation was created to make our lives easier, that could also be argued that the automation process also eliminates the need for unskilled workers.
Right.
So employers are beginning to value candidates who have hard skills such as critical thinking and technical skills over dedicated and hardworking candidates. So
don't you also think that despite the fact that these automations are replacing manual labor or human labor, don't you think that the need of the function of those automations requires people in the back too, like people behind the curtain?
definitely, yeah, that's definitely needed, because the theory that you've heard that like if there wasn't even one person on the planet would die down in like a day. So of course, behind every creation, behind everything, there's a person, right?
So basically, although there's going to be less manual labor in factories like with low skill work, there's going to be higher skill work with like technicians, software engineers, IT, stuff like that.
Exactly. And it can also be argued that that's a bad thing, because a lot of hardworking candidate employers are being, replaced by robots, basically, right?
That's right.
So it can be argued, and a lot of people are against it, because a lot of people already, because of the 2019 COVID-19 mandate, because of that, a lot of people lost their jobs. So it's a really big thing, because I think by 2030, a research showed that, not by 2030, 2040, 2030, around then, a lot of like these jobs, like cashiers, are going to be processed highly by automations and stuff. So that definitely does affect, automation definitely affects our technology, our
employment,
yes, our employment in highly, like, many different ways.
I think that also brings us to our labor rights as employees under a company. For example, if you talk about the gaming industry or the entertainment industry, you've heard from probably so many from sources that the employees in those industries are being exploited to the point where they're working late night hours just to finish a game. And having the facilitation of automation on our side,
definitely could help us.
There might be lesser hours for workers to focus on gaming.
Another huge thing could also be for like security jobs, or for doctors, because doctors, nowadays, if you're at home, if there's an emergency, they're called up like right away if there's something like an emergency, right? So I think that automation can definitely help out with that. But then again, small things like, getting fired for, boxing up gifts, boxing up food, boxing up different things, right? Which a human can do, and they're looking for jobs like labor work and stuff,
right,
and they're getting paid for it. I don't think that's a wrong thing either, but definitely things like you just said could help us in an advanced level, could help us.
That's right, because there's no room for human error at this point.
Exactly.
With automation involved.
Exactly. So it could be a positive and negative thing, both.
That's really interesting.
Yes.
Arguably, you know that the role of automation has a lot to do with artificial intelligence as well, right?
Yes. So, in the same vein as automation, artificial intelligence was created to help companies increase productivity and maximize efficiency, right? But it also threatens job prospects, like I mentioned before. Although we may have not seen robots on the streets, walking around the streets, improving lives yet, AI has been working in more subliminal ways to have AI changing how programs are created, understood, and transformed. Instead of companies paying humans to develop programs, they are now paying robots. This is the same with the developing networks, software, and apps. But forget about the technology industry for a second. Of course, technology affects technology. What about our section in the workplace, right? So AI has its hand in almost anything that requires technology, right?
Yeah.
So from streamlining administrations, customer service, sales, production work, and even the food service.
That's right.
So, yeah.
I think in this case, it's important to mention ChatGPT
Yes.
and how a lot of students are relying on ChatGPT to get their assignments done. And it's kind of conflicting the education system because
Definitely.
there's, you know, now teachers have to rely on the same process of ChatGPT to make sure that students aren't, you know, copy pasting and they're not plagiarizing.
No, 100%. But the thing is that, like, if you have future doctors and stuff, they might also think as a positive thing because robots may take over doctors' jobs in the future. But again, we can't have any automation errors at all in terms of like people, real life people. And when we're thinking about what you just said, online, like cheating on tests, not even cheating, if you do an essay or something and you're using ChatGPT, it does the whole, you know, effect of actually working or doing the essay, laying the parts. The whole point of the whole work that the, you know, assignment is,
Yeah.
you don't really get that because of the ChatGPT. So it could be a positive thing, a negative thing for both sides. It's arguably argued a lot. So, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to mention that Albert Einstein, for example, he had a really big saying
Yes.
in which he said, and I believe we mentioned this before too in one of our previous video
Yes.
programs, that he said that technology has exceeded humanity, and due to that, we are breeding a generation of idiots. And I
Definitely.
think it comes back to the idea that we are becoming so dependent on technology that we are not even retaining the information that we learn through education.
No, I 100% agree with that. I feel like in the future there's going to be something where it's going to be no education. But it also comes back to the factor where, you know, you rely on, and I'm going to speak for myself as well, guys. I also rely on automation. ChatGPT, there's also something called
Like
Paraphrase.
Grammarly and stuff like that.
Paraphrase, it literally does the whole thing for me. And I wouldn't consider it plagiarism, but still, like, it helps me out in such ways. But when I'm even sending a little email or little business text, right, I'm like, you know what if my grammar is wrong? So I quickly check through it, and there's so many differences. So it's such a good help. But then again, I'm literally gaining nothing from it, because if I don't have that technology, or that, you know, if I don't have that one day, if I don't have it near me, then I'm going to have to do it myself, but I'm not learning anything from it, right? So it could be debated heavily. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but there is an artificial intelligence program online, and basically you just give it a few words and it creates a picture based off of those few words, which brings us to how technology promotes arts in a way, or creativity, you can say.
Yeah, so the takeover of technology and robots is a daunting topic, like we already covered. But technology also has many different benefits. So suppose you have an access to a laptop, a smartphone, or a tablet, in this case. There's a good chance that you also have access to plethora or apps that were created and designed to encourage creativity. So foster personal expressions and exchange ideas are things that, you know, include plethora type apps, and it encourages, you know, the exchange of ideas, and apps such as, you know, Canva. It can like create a whole poster for you, and there's so many different, you know.
That's right. There's so many different
concepts to
templates as well.
Yeah, Zoom and Slack have made, monumental strides.
That's right.
In them, right? So these apps, have become a valuable resource for both employees, and efficient, productive. It helps, efficient, productive work for students, employees, many different people,
That's
and it helps
right.
out in many, many different ways.
Yeah.
It can change in any form. It can be scary at sometimes as well, because an impact of technology in the workplace is particularly due to how fast technology is progressing, right? And how technology is, right? How it's everywhere. Technology is everywhere at the moment, right?
Yep.
So technology, computers, projectors, smartphones, automations, and AI, right? Are all, can enhance or negatively and positively affect companies depending on how it is implemented, right?
Right.
So the point of the matter is technology is the future of work, right? So if you can adapt to these changes in the employment industry or landscape, you already have one foot in the future.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great, because when it comes to Elon Musk, why do you think he's the richest man alive? Because he is the one who has utilized technology the proper way.
Yeah, exactly. He's utilizes it in so many good ways, in terms of, climate, in terms of people, in terms of himself, in terms of businesses. So he's a huge aspect of our, world and what it has come to.
And because of all his projects that have succeeded, those projects have, created a lot of employment opportunities as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a really important thing. And we keep mentioning Elon Musk because he's a huge part of, the employment, the job industry that affects our health, our climate, and many different aspects of,
Lifestyles in
our
general.
lifestyles in general. Exactly.
Thank you so much, Huda, for this wonderful and enlightening discussion. The few programs that we've done so far are a part of our Canada Maple Foundation's economic empowerment agenda, and we're hoping that these programs provide all kinds of tips and tricks for you to adapt to this really exceeding technology, and we hope to see you in our next program. Thank you.
Thank you so much.